Welcome back to episode 6 of the Sideline Surge podcast, where two dudes like us that never made it inside the white lines talk about sports from the sidelines. I'm your host, Dustin, with my co-host, DJ. How you doing, DJ?
Good. Hey, we beat the TikTok challenge. So, matter of fact, I'm doing a lot better than good. So, I cashed out on that. I'm currently sweating another 25x parlay on PrizePicks as we speak. But I think the biggest win, regardless, even if I win that, is that we went on the over of the 24 and a half TikTok followers.
Yeah, so if you guys don't know what DJ is talking about, last episode we did a TikTok challenge where we set an over and an under for our TikTok following. We had 8 followers. We set the over under at 24 and a half for the day, and we both took the over. TikTok came through. We ended up going with 43 followers now. So we think we're going to do it again. Let's do it again. So let's do it. We are a sports betting podcast, so you already know we have to do this. We are going to set an over-under on our TikTok following at Sideline Surge at 100 followers. So 99 and a half followers. Are we going to be going over or under this number by the end of today, July 10th, DJ?
Again, I'm going to take it the over. I'm going to have a little bit of recency bias here. In one day alone, we ended up having a multiplier of 5, went 8 from 8 to 43. We're looking to double our numbers today. Give me the over. I like it.
This line's a little bit more aggressive than yesterday's 25, but I think TikTok will come through again and send us past 100 followers. So let's go. Cash the over, TikTok. Let us know in the comments if you guys have followed on TikTok or not, if you're watching here on YouTube. And yeah. So let's go ahead, let's see how many days in a row we can cash the over. We're going to keep setting these lines maybe a little bit more aggressively because yesterday's line was trash, apparently, because we blew past it. So today, a little bit more aggressive line. We're going to have to gain over 50 followers on TikTok. We'll see if we can do it. But after now that we're done that, we celebrated our TikTok win there. Hopefully, you're going to cash out that 25x on PrizePicks. We'll definitely let you guys know how that pans out for DJ, if he's crying in tears or he's crying and wiping his tears with money from happiness. However, if you guys are not already following on any of the social medias, follow on social medias. But most importantly, if you guys are watching on YouTube, if you guys are not subscribed, hit the subscribe button and like this video. We would appreciate it. We're a sports podcast that brings you guys the top daily news, bets from games going on today, etc. Anything you can think of in the sports world that's big, we're probably talking about it, and we're probably betting on it. But let's go ahead and start. I think DJ has a game for me specifically here. We can start with that.
I do have a game for you. And what you're going to be doing, and listeners, if you're listening to this, I want you to comment your answers below as well. But you're going to be blindly ranking these 5 quarterbacks from the 2022 draft class. So not the hottest of markets there, but let's go ahead and start this off. The first quarterback that you have, Desmond Ridder.
Ooh. I'm trying to think of all the quarterbacks in that class. I feel like I'm gonna go 3.
3?
Based off spot. Potential. I feel like that was safe.
Okay. Number 2, Kenny Pickett.
I'm gonna go 2.
2. Malik Willis.
I'm gonna go 5.
Sam Howell. You have 1 and 4 left.
I have to take 4.
You got it. Brock Purdy.
Number 1, baby. Only thing I would change about this is I would flip 3 and 4. Personally, I'd take Sam Howell at 3, and I would take Desmond Ridder at 4. Other than that, perfect. I love it.
Yeah, no, I think that ended up being pretty solid. I think easily out of that draft class, and he was the last one taken, Brock Purdy. Like he's got to be number 1. Kenny Pickett, I would say probably number 2 for sure. Out of that draft class, but that's just a horrible draft class. Like yeah. if you saved your money up to get a quarterback in that draft class, sorry.
Well, guess what? 49ers didn't have to save any money up, and they still got the best guy in the class.
Right. And that's the thing too, is like we don't even know how Brock Purdy would have looked if it weren't for injuries and everything else. And it turns out all of that happens, and then he ends up being the top guy over there in San Fran.
Okay, you put
So
Sam Howell in San Fran. What does it look like?
see, that's what's crazy, because I think that it's the same. I can't say it's going to be better. I think that he's going to bring the same. I think all of these guys in this draft class are system quarterbacks. And that's what you need to be. That's what you need to have in order to be successful. Is you need to be able to follow that system, like we saw obviously Tom Brady have that success. So I think that that's where all of these guys are. Like the best landing spot that any of these guys could have went was San Francisco, for sure.
I'm not going to let this slide. You didn't just call Tom Brady a system quarterback. It might have helped him, but this guy is much more than a system quarterback, in my opinion. It might be a little biased, but yeah. I mean, he's got the clutch gene. He did a lot of things outside of the system, but I mean, obviously, I'm never going to say, listen, it's a part of the game. To build a system around a quarterback or an offense and for them to be able to execute it is what you are trying to do in order to get wins, right? It's kind of the same thing I think about whenever I think about Floyd Mayweather, right? His boxing strategy is to get a win, right? He's not there. Sure, he's an entertaining guy as a whole, but like he's not there to necessarily make the most entertaining fight, in my opinion. He is doing whatever it takes against X opponent to get a win against X opponent. And you have to respect that. The guy's never lost, right? To do what it takes to win. Just like if I'm playing you in Madden, right? And I'm up by 1 point and I got the ball with a minute left, I'm probably taking some knees.
Yeah, and
I'm
see,
that
that's what
guy.
I'm saying. Like,
I'm that guy.
right. And like I guess where I lean towards it is because like, yes, I'm a Green Bay Packers fan, like diehard Green Bay Packers fan. Aaron Rodgers did not fit the system. That's why we struggled. That's why it was the best choice to move on from Aaron Rodgers, have someone like Jordan Love, who is kind of that system quarterback. He goes through the reads, he goes through Matt LaFleur's system, and it works. That's why Green Bay is doing so good with such a young quarterback. So it's like, yeah, and like I do get what you're saying. Like there is situations where obviously, yeah, you're gonna have to step in and you're gonna have to make these impromptu plays. Tom Brady was very goated in that aspect, but he was also, I feel like, very much a system quarterback. But again, that's not a knock. That is not a dig to him at all. That is what you need to do. You have to be that team player in order to be successful. You know what I mean? Like it's got to be complementary football. And Tom Brady knew exactly how to handle those situations. So I'm not saying that necessarily in a dig at Tom Brady. So I know that people are like, oh, no, 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 no. But it's just like his game is very different from like Patrick Mahomes and Aaron Rodgers' game, I feel like. Whereas because like there's a system in play, right? Like Patrick Mahomes and Aaron Rodgers are making all these impromptu plays. I don't necessarily think that Tom Brady did that. That's not a bad thing though.
No, right. I get where you're getting at it. And like I said, he kind of was, but he just was so good. It's like he almost wasn't at the same time, in my opinion. But like I said, maybe
Yes,
some slight
yes.
bias here. He is the greatest of all time, but whatever. That's a story for a different day. But yeah, in other words, I'm all about what is it going to take to win, and if Brock Purdy is a system quarterback, then so be it. I know that's the thing going around town. I know people love to argue, oh, he's a system quarterback if you put X and X, and that's why I kind of brought this situation up with Sam Howell or any of these quarterbacks if you replace them. It'd be interesting. I wish we could do it. I wish we could just see it in real time. I wish we could take Kenny Pickett and just put him on, the 49ers for this season only and just to see what it would have been like, right? And find out if these guys, it really is a system or if they're that good. I think Brock Purdy is exactly what the 49ers need, and I think he is good. Whether it's the system making him good or not, I mean, it's hard not to be pretty solid at minimum when you got CMC, Debo, Ayuk, and Kittle. Like, I mean, you got the weapons to be good. You just got to get it to them, right? So
Exactly. And then he has such a great defense. And that's where that piece comes into like the complementary football as well. Like again, got drafted to the perfect position. So
which is
how good do you actually need to be?
But think about it. It's kind of an advantage being in the middle to back end of these QB cycles if you get an opportunity, because you're not guaranteed an opportunity like the top one or two, three guys, right? But you're going to go to a better situation if you are one of those latter end quarterbacks, not guaranteed an opportunity, like I said. But if you're one of the top two, three guys, you're probably coming into a pretty bad situation unless maybe you're Caleb Williams right now. I mean, he's coming into a pretty solid. The Bears did a good job getting him surrounded with some pieces. So we'll see how that ends up turning out. But overall, it's like you almost get screwed for being the top guys. It's like, man,
Yeah,
I'm going where? Washington? The
yeah.
Commanders?
Which
Oh
I do feel
God.
like CJ Stroud was kind of like the outlier in that situation because he went to the Texans and it was like, oh, this poor guy, like that's a career killer. And
Absolutely.
now they're looking at, I mean, they're obviously probably going to win the AFC South. Like, I mean, that's a realistic possibility for this Houston Texans team. So
I also think
he
he
started around.
I also think he's a dog. He is an absolute
Oh
dog. I
yeah,
love him. I love him. One of my best friends is an Ohio State fan, so I follow Ohio State pretty close, just through him as well. And I mean, he was a stud. So I believe the Texans are going to be really good. And I mean, obviously, the wide receiver core, the young guys that they had coming on over the last year, 2 years, insane. And then to add Stephon Diggs, which we've kind of talked about Diggs on that team a little bit here on this show previously. But yeah, absolutely insane. Let's move on. We'll go ahead and get some of the news from some important games and such from yesterday, last night. Really, mostly MLB. I think we have all MLB news from yesterday. There was no WNBA, but yeah, we off the top we have Schwarber and Harper return to Phillies lineup, 10-1 win over Los Angeles Dodgers, and not only that, Trey Turner hits a grand slam. Glad to see him healthy and back in this lineup as well. So, he was injured for a good part.
and I think that's the most frustrating thing. Like again, Braves fan here, so I have a bias towards Philadelphia. Don't love them, but that it's hard to knock greatness like this because they've dealt with so many injuries, and then you start to see them. They're still missing JT Realmuto,
Yeah,
and he's a very solid hitter. But
yeah,
they start to get all their pieces back, and they're beating one of the top dogs in the LA Dodgers nearly by double digits. Crazy.
yeah. I mean, I know you're happy that they were injured for your guys' series. So,
Yeah, and we still even lost one game, and it's
right.
I mean, yeah, that's frustrating. But we did win the series. We went 2-1.
Nonetheless, yeah, baseball's more fun as always whenever these guys are healthy, especially on these top teams, and see these lineups, cruise. So definitely happy they're back, and we'll see how that pans out for the Phillies. Dodgers got to figure it out again. Reese Hines, we talked about him yesterday. I'm glad we brought him up. The kid homered yesterday in his 2 days ago in his debut, and then not only that, he sets an MLB record. 5 extra base hits in his first 2 games as an MLB rookie. Never been done before. Shout out to Reese Hines. Absolutely starting his career off on fire. He had a double, a triple, and a home run yesterday, along with 2 strikeouts. If you could have just turned one of those strikeouts into a single, we'd be sitting at 2 cycles for the season. If you guys don't know about it, me and DJ have a bet over under 2.5 cycles for the entire season. There was already one. We set the line after that one happened. So I took the under. DJ took the over. He was needing Reese to come through. But maybe the rookie
I
comes
was.
through today or tomorrow because he's just absolutely insane and on fire. We'll see.
That is what we need, and like just a young buck to get it done. And the 2 strikeouts, it kind of even brings up what you were talking about yesterday. Like I don't know how his at bats went in terms because I know you said that there were 2 strikeouts in there, but like, are you willing to strike out first if that means that you're going to hit a cycle afterwards? Like maybe that's where I'm starting to say like I'll strike out first. Like I
Dude,
think that's where I'm okay with it.
I wonder how many cycles have been hit with a strikeout included. That's like that's like a that's a bigger cycle. I don't know what type of cycle that is, but that's a bigger cycle. The highs and lows, right? Uh,
That's one extreme to the other, all in one
um,
game.
Yankees drop another, losing 6 of their last 7. I smile big every time this happens, or every time they lose another one. I was thinking about this. Like the Red Sox are going to end up passing the Yankees in the standings, and I have no doubt about it now in my head. The Yankees are just on a free fall, and they have been for almost 20 games or so now. It's like figure it out. It's gonna be too late, and you're gonna be in the 3rd spot in the East there. So I think that they're gonna end up passing them. I don't think the Red Sox will catch the Birds, the Orioles, but I mean, finish second in that division and going to be making the playoffs probably. Maybe it's going to be a bad take, freezing cold take, but I personally think that's going to happen. The Yankees aren't going to figure it out. The Red Sox, they keep winning, and we're in a series with Oakland right now. We won last night. We take more games from them. The Yankees continue to skid, right? We're in a prime opportunity. Then we play the Royals, right? Hopefully Bobby Witt Jr. is just going to take a break and not play in that series. That'd be sick. But yeah, I mean, we're setting up with an opportunity to really take over that second spot in the East, and I'm getting excited about it. Although our roster still is not great, I would love to see us do something at the trade deadline, maybe Pete Alonso or something like that. I know he's been rumored to a lot of places, but I don't know. The Mets getting hot, they probably won't sell anymore.
Yeah, and because I mean, like that's what I'm saying. Like the Yankees' worst nightmare is starting to become y'all's dream, as in like they've dropped so many games that like we've got to fix these glaring holes. Like we've got to stop this run. Wherever y'all are on the flip side of that is like we are on a run. We need to continue this run. Let's add these pieces because I think like at the beginning of this last month on like I think it was like June 9th or something, I saw this report. Don't quote me on this, but I believe that the Red Sox were behind 16 and a half games. And then over a month's time, now y'all were it's 5.5 games, I believe, behind the Yankees. And it's like, oh, holy cow. Like now all of a sudden we're putting ourselves because if a month ago y'all probably weren't in a ton of trade conversations. Y'all are probably leaning a little bit more towards we're actually going to sell some players rather than buy some players. But now that narrative is completely flipped and y'all put yourselves in a situation to actually contend, be in that playoff conversation, which is exciting for a fan because nothing is worse than having your team that you root for be awful in the MLB. There are no other sports on to get you through the lull of the MLB season when your team is bad.
And sitting through an MLB game with a bad team, if you're
Yeah.
gonna watch your team because you just love them, even if they're bad, it's like that really sucks. But yeah, I think the Red Sox are hopefully going to buy. We hardly do we ever buy. I think we were maybe possibly going to sell. Me and my brother talked about it. Tyler O'Neill on the Red Sox was probably a prime candidate to be sold off if that was the case. A big bat, going into somebody that's going to be going into the postseason for sure. But now I think that narrative has kind of changed, and the Yankees are never afraid to just buy, even at a time like this, and they're probably getting desperate, as you said. So they're probably going to have to buy some pieces to try and fix some things in general. Ben Rice, though, their leadoff guy right now, he's absolutely crushing. So that's one spot that maybe been filled, but nobody else is helping him out really. So we'll
Yeah,
see.
and that's the thing that'll probably flip for the Yankees. I mean, they'll figure it out. You're gonna go through these slumps, and we've seen how dominant the Yankees were. So it's just, but like that's again where everybody else in y'all's division and y'all are benefiting from that greatly. The Orioles are extending their lead in that division, so it's really good. So I love that. I love that. I love that it's not like there's that little bit more competition.
Yeah, I mean, this was starting to get. I mean, the Blue Jays definitely underperforming. Rays, obviously, from what they've been in past years, are underperforming. So this was supposed to be a stacked division, and the Red Sox were supposed to be at the bottom of it, to be honest with you. And now it's looking like we might be in the 2 spot here soon enough. All right, enough about the East, enough about the Yankees, Red Sox, etc. Giants walk it off on a wild pitch. You have a fun fact about this?
Yeah, because yesterday we even mentioned the Tigers. They beat the Guardians on a fielding error in the 8th inning. That was the lone run in that game. They ended up winning. So it's crazy that now we saw 2 games, 2 days in a row, where it's kind of the game has been determined on a throwing error, essentially,
Right.
right? And it's just like I feel like I don't hear that too much. So whenever I saw that, I was like, wow, that is actually kind of crazy. Like to walk it off on a wild pitch, like that's a long trot back to the dugout.
And it just sucks because the execution just failed, right? Execution and what you worked on. It wasn't like they beat you necessarily. But
Right.
yeah, let's go ahead. I know you talked about your 25x on PrizePicks. You are sweating out. We can go ahead and see if we can build out something that more people can sweat out. Speaking of Tyler O'Neill, he's popping up right there in front of my face. Take Tyler O'Neill over 2.5 hits, runs, RBIs today. Over 2 hits, runs, RBIs today on underdog, actually. Right now, he's set to 2.5 hits, runs, RBIs on the sports books right? You're getting it 0.5 lower. You have some push potential at 2 for Tyler O'Neill. But anytime you get it 0.5 lower than the sports books, probably looking pretty solid to get it at minus 116 in a or in a 6-man flex on underdog. So definitely some really good plays on underdog right now. If you guys want to get some value in, I mean, it's unlimited right now. Jeez Louise. We could even probably check the AI slip generator at Daily Grind Fantasy. If you guys wanted a full slip, here it is. Here's PrizePicks. There's some underdog slips as well. And all you do is just one click of a button, get this in. You have Sessoni. I have no clue.
Yeah.
We'll call him Slade over for Brianna Jones under 18.5 points plus rebounds. Caitlin Clark under 8.5 assists. Slosk under 16.5 maps 1 and 2 headshots. Reese Olson, Tanner Beebe under 11 strikeouts. Guys, what this does is it scans the market via the optimizer that we were just showing you before to find the best possible plays, builds out full slips for you to tail, and then it also tries to find positive correlation, dodges negative correlation, so it gives you the best slips on these apps possible, and you can trust that you're getting profitable plays over the long term by entering in these slips that the AI slip generator is spitting out. If you guys want access to the AI slip generator or access to the fantasy bundle with the optimizers, you guys can get access by going to dailygrindfantasy.com and then or dgfantasy.com, let's say, and use code SURGE for 25% off Daily Grind Fantasy. And here, if you guys want the top slip for underdog, there it is as well. Bang.
Like what a tool though, because I know that the viewers can't necessarily see it right now, but that tool is up 1,288 units since it first came out. I know that it's not able to be seen. It's right there behind Dustin. But it's going to be a matter of time. I mean, like we're probably a couple days removed from that thing hitting 1,300 units, which that's crazy. Like, and that's what it's just, again, take advantage of these tools. Like Dustin had said, though, I'm sweating out this 25x times multiplier because what I did was all it was a PrizePicks slip with 5 players. Yesterday was Taco Tuesday. Got to take advantage of these promos. And I just took one of these AI generated slips and then threw Taco Tuesday in there and got 6 picks on it. And now I'm sweating out one play. I've hit 5 out of 5. And now I've got just the one play left. And that's a WNBA play that we've got early this morning, which is fantastic at Sports All Day today.
Yeah, we'll update you guys. If he hits 25x, maybe we'll throw some money tomorrow, or if we might be crying on stream together because I'm rooting on him. And guys, Daily Grind Fantasy, just the best place to find value on PrizePicks, Underdog, any of these DFS apps that you guys know and love. I mean, look at this. Angel Reese under 28.5 points plus rebounds right now, set to 27.5 on FanDuel and Bovada, slightly favoring the under of 27.5. You get it 1 full point rebound higher. Marina Mabry, 8.5 rebounds and assists, 8.5 on FanDuel, but minus 152 juice to the under. Guys, finding value comparing to the sportsbooks. The sportsbooks set these lines and odds for a reason, right? They're multi-million-dollar models, etc., right, are setting these lines. These DFS apps, they're typically set payouts, right? So if you get Marina Mabry in right now in a 6 or 5-man flex on PrizePicks, you're getting a play that's minus 152 to go under on FanDuel at minus 119 odds on PrizePicks in a 5 or 6-man flex. Absolutely insane what that does to your profitability over the long term, right? Playing that play at minus 119 that the market has at minus 152, insane. So if you guys want access, remember, code SURGE down below. You guys get access to Daily Grind Fantasy. Now, let's go ahead, move on to what do we have? We have some sports news in general, kind of just random news and topics to talk about, but I will bring it up. My man, Jason Tatum, is now going to be on the cover of 2K25. How does that make you feel? Well-deserved or not?
Well-deserved, but I want to know how Jaylen Brown feels. Like, I think that's what I want to know. You win Finals MVP and kind of had the team on your back a little bit. I know Jason Tatum had a hell of a series, a hell of a run in the playoffs, and really a hell of a season just in general. But that's what I want to know. I love this cover looks so sick. Like they always do such a good job on these covers, but well deserving, I don't know. I
Hey,
don't know. I would have had
come
to put
on.
my Jalen Brown on there.
I'm gonna be honest. I mean, Jason Tatum is the more marketable face of the Celtics type of guy. Jalen Brown's a little bit more backseat type of guy when it comes to talking in media and such. Obviously, he won the Finals MVP. Give my boy the consolation prize as the cover athlete of 2K25. I think it's deserved for him, to be honest with you. And you also got Age Wilson on the cover for the WNBA edition. You have the All Star edition with the two of them. And then, of course, Vince Carter on the Hall of Fame edition. But shout out to Jason Tatum. I mean, honestly, Jason Tatum is probably the guy that gets roasted most in the NBA right now between his cringiness after winning the NBA Finals and then also the talk between Jalen Brown being better, him disappearing sometimes, Jalen Brown winning the NBA Finals MVP. I mean, this is only going to add to it. People are going to be like, should have been Jalen Brown, and you're part of the problem, damn it.
But you know what? You've honestly you've changed my mind because this is a good consolation prize. Like,
Wow.
sure. Like
I said that as a joke.
If this is what we can do, then sure, let's go ahead and let's give it to him. Why not?
Yeah, whatever.
I'm on board. Let's please both parties.
Right, whatever. And then from there, this news is something we don't know for sure if it's real or not. This kind of came out yesterday, and they said that former Nike CEO Phil Knight is supplying Oregon with unlimited NIL resources per at ESPN. Knight, who's 86, desperately wants to see a championship at his alma mater and is willing to pay whatever it takes to make it happen. I hate this. I hate this.
Yeah.
I like NIL's cool. I don't have too many issues with it. There could be stuff that gets fixed, and I'm not the guy to come up with those rules to change it. But in general, this is like hacks, right? If you're just going to throw 10 million, 20 million at each guy on the roster, I mean, you could get anybody in the country because Oregon's already a solid name in the sport. You got the best uniforms in the game. It would be hacks. I hope this isn't necessarily real. I get if he's helping out. I've donated $15 to the Seminoles before in NIL. Like, I'm doing my part here. I don't got Phil Knight money, but hey, I mean, it was, $15 might get us, a bag of chips for one of these guys,
I love that for you. I had no idea that you did that. That's fantastic. I gotta make a donation to my team, see what we can do with it.
You might
Probably
need
not a
more
whole
than
lot.
$15 for that team, buddy.
Yeah, Baylor Bears aren't doing a whole lot. But no, I mean, like this is the stuff that unfortunately it has the potential to ruin college football. Like just really college athletics. I think more so the football world has taken the NIL deals over. I know that we see other sports get paid money, especially college basketball on the men's side, but really most of this money is allocated to the football players. And it's whack. Like again, we don't know the validity behind this report, but there's got to be some type of regulation. There's no way that these teams having people like Phil Knight, who is just a billionaire and has all of this money, who can just donate however much money he wants. Like that's just puts all these other teams at such a disadvantage because then that just ensures that Oregon will always be great, but it's basically they're great because they can afford to be great. Where
Right.
these other schools can't, right? There's going to be a lot of tech companies once they figure this out. If like there's no regulation, who's stopping these really big tech companies, Fortune 500 companies, from just dumping money into their favorite teams to say, "Hey, go get the best players."
Right.
Right? I'm all about these college players getting paid, but there's got to be some type of regulation where it's like there's either a cap number, like, hey, this is your salary cap. This is the amount that you get. Like that's what we do in professional sports. Can we not
Right.
make that happen within college sports?
Right. Right. I don't know. There's so many things that we probably don't know about NIL to fully speak on it and what the parameters are already set in place or not set in place. where this could potentially go. And we're kind of having fun with this conversation in a sense because we don't know 100% that this is real. But if it is, I mean, can the Spanx lady who went to Florida State, you know, the Spanx that the girls wear, like, can you please do something? Help us out, right? You make a lot of money. Help us out at Florida State, man. We will wear Spanx out on the field. I don't know.
Yeah. Hey,
Maybe
and
she
we'll
can
give
make
our annual.
Spanx girdles or whatever for us. Just help us out. If Nike's coming swinging like this, we need to be spanking that ass. All right, let's do it.
Hey, that's a bar right there. Spanking that ass. I love it.
Oh boy, yeah. So who knows? We'll see where that ends up. I'm pissed. I'm pissed, and I'm gonna show you why. Jose Ramirez is going to be in the home run derby. Was announced yesterday after our episode, and I texted you as soon as I seen it, and I said, "Yo, Jose Ramirez in the home run derby." I'm pretty sure I mentioned that he was gonna commit to the home run derby in our podcast earlier that day. You were like, "I'm gonna watch it back." You didn't. Yeah, so I guess it was in my head. I was like, if there was another name I was going to say, Jose Ramirez, and I never did say it. We ended up talking about Jose Ramirez in a different fashion in the podcast itself, but I remember in my head being like, I think maybe Jose Ramirez might join. And yeah, I didn't say it out loud, so can't really claim it, and you guys probably might not even believe me, but Jose Ramirez is going to be in the home run derby.
Yeah, and it's exciting. I think that this is another good complimentary piece to him. He has a lot of power, but I still want to see somebody with just a pure power hitter enter this derby. So you did, though. I mean, fumble the bag. Like if that was the definition of fumbling the bag, that's exactly what you did. If what you're saying is true, because right now I'm holding this Oregon NIL deal and this Dustin thought of Jose Ramirez at the same level. Like I don't know.
Right.
To believe it or do I not?
Fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah. I whatever. You take my word for it or don't. I don't care. I know in my head. All right. I have a slight game. It's kind of to do with betting before we get into our maybe our odds jam segment where we look up some bets using odds jam. But I wanted to know, what is your top 3 sports leagues to bet on? And I will give you mine as well. Let's hear.
Right. First one, NBA. I think that NBA season for me is unmatched because of the volume. You're getting to bet essentially every single day throughout the season. So there's nothing I think that compares to that. MLB is hard. I know that people say we can bet on the MLB every single day. I find the MLB kind of difficult to bet on. I live in a state where like typical sports betting on sports books is illegal. At the moment, I do think that that's going to change in the near future, but whatever. So because of that, I have to resort to daily fantasy sports, and I don't like there is a lot of value out there. It's just not my favorite sport to bet on. So to lead it off, I'm going to go NBA. And then after that, probably the NFL. I love the hype around the NFL season, but it is one of those things that you have to wait. You know, you only get about 20 weeks of it, and then that's kind of it, right? 20 days of it, really. And so it's just, I don't know. Like NFL, though, I love betting on the NFL. And then right after that, probably college football. Just the sport of football in general. I love the hype around it. I get excited. I get invested into teams I don't really have a flip about. I don't care a flip about. So I get into it. So definitely NBA, though, they take top of the cake, and everyone else is kind of a little bit down here.
Yeah, my list is the exact same, but the reason why I have NBA at the top, not only the volume, because you could technically get the same with MLB, but in the NBA, the edge you can get on these DFS apps and even the sports books when injury news and lineup news drops every single day, there is news that is just so random sometimes in the NBA, right? These sports books adjust. PrizePicks, Underdog, any of these DFS apps are slower to adjust to the news. You are able to get, let's say, Embiid gets ruled out, right? That means that Paul George, Maxey are probably going to be affected, and they're going to need to be relied on scoring a little bit. So Paul George's line goes from 22.5 to 24.5, 25.5 points. You get it at 22.5 because DFS apps like PrizePicks were too slow to adjust. But the books adjust. The books bumped it up to 24.5 right away as soon as this news got announced and are favoring the over. But the prize picks and such were too slow. You were able to get it in because the tools that we have and use, Daily Grind Fantasy, Odds Jam, update in real time when the sports books update. So you're able to see that prize pick still hasn't updated or underdog still hasn't updated and go get it over there. Um, that's the reason why I have NBA at the top. NFL is just the most fun sport. It's my favorite sport. It's probably majority of people's favorite sport to watch. So it just adds to it, right? A Thursday night game between the Arizona Cardinals and the Washington Commanders. I'd like to have some money on it, and I'm already gonna watch it anyways because I love watching football. I have some fantasy guys in it probably. Hopefully, I don't have any fantasy guys on those teams, to be honest, or maybe Marvin Harrison Jr. We'll see. Yeah, and then college football. I mean, who doesn't like betting on the action on a Wednesday night, right? You got no other sports on a Wednesday night typically that I really love. I'd rather watch action than a lot of MLB games probably. So I mean, I'll take that. I don't know. Just football in general is just the most fun to me and my favorite sport, whether it's college football, NFL. So yeah, I would say that. But NBA is probably the most profitable just based on those edges you can get around that lineup in injury news.
All right, and the thing I did want to mention also about like the NFL and college football really, which I'm interested to see. I know PrizePicks has been doing a really good job of kind of mitigating it as much as they can, but you used to get such great correlation and being able to stack those plays with the NFL and college football. And you can even get that doing it with other sports and like the NBA and everything too. But like that was what was goaded this last year. But then I know that Prize Picks and all of these fantasy apps are starting to do payout shifts and payout structure. Like everything else is like kind of shifting a little bit to that market. So it is losing a little bit of value like as the years go on. But it is like that is something that you can do. Like if you're wanting to do that, like obviously if Patrick Mahomes is going to go over on his passing yards, then Travis Kelce is likely to go over on his receiving yards, right? That's the kind of correlation that you're looking for. But again, I know Prize Picks and these fantasy sports apps are taking a little bit of a hit, which is not fantastic, but
Yeah,
whatever.
we still try and find correlation where we can. Of course, dodge negative correlation. You don't want to have that in your slips either. Give yourself a better chance of losing that slip. But let's go ahead and talk about OddsJam, who is a very, very good platform to use when trying to find an edge on these sports books. Any sports book that you can come to mind is probably on OddsJam, where you can try and find an edge. I'll give it a refresh right here, and we can see what the top play is going to be. Tina Charles over 9.5 player rebounds in the Dream Sky game. We have Bovada is where you could be getting this at plus 150. Oh, looks like this is actually being weighed down heavily by parlay play. So maybe parlay play is off on this one. But let's see. We also have Framer Valdez going up against Bet Online. Flip and Bet Online. Flip, you're getting plus 125 for Framer Valdez to get a win against the Miami Marlins. Bet Online has this minus 110. Earlier today, we also had this line on a couple other books at like minus 103, plus 105. So I mean, this is kind of trending towards a solid play on Flip, getting plus money. The only other book is minus money right now. What else we got? Braves, your beloved Braves, Arizona Diamondbacks on Hard Rock, over 5.5 first half total runs. It's a plus money play, plus 130. The market's right around plus 122. So you guys can find an edge by comparing sportsbook lines back to these other sportsbooks as well. Once again, code SURGE on OddsJam if you guys want to use this platform to help you find the most profitable plays on the sports books, right? A little different than DG Fantasy that's more focused on the DFS side of things. But if you guys want to use either one of them, code SURGE for 25% off your first month. All right, DJ, I'm not sure if you have anything else. I feel like it's been a great episode. I think we're going to have to end it here.
I agree. And the only thing I'll close on is just please, if y'all could, just send your good luck for Jonquel Jones to go over 9.5 rebounds for me. I would greatly appreciate it.
There it is. That's going to be it for episode 6 of the Sideline Surge. Make sure you guys like, comment down below, and subscribe if you're not subscribed already. Peace.